Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Swan Lounge. It's Friday. We're lounging. We're having a good time. We've got some incredible guests in the back room, the virtual digital back room, that is. But first, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Swan Lounge. I really got to learn to turn off my echo over here. Anyway, y'all know Swan. You love Swan. This is us. We're lounging. Few quick things before we get going. Sign up for daily buys if you haven't done that yet. I don't know what you're doing. I'm going to put the link up right now. Where is the link? Oh, I can't find the link. I'm all over the place today. And daily buys. There it is. swanbitcoin.com/daily buys. Go and sign up. One other thing. We've been working on something called the Bitcoin Arsenal. I don't know if you know about it, but it's all the memes. When I say all the memes, I mean all the Bitcoin memes in existence. Not yet, but soon. We're adding them. We just put up a new page yesterday for Swede Toshi, who is incredibly talented and a major community builder. So go check that out. Follow us on Twitter. Free book. Get Jan Pritzker's free book. I promise I'll stop shilling soon. Event.swanbitcoin.com/free book. Inventing Bitcoin. It's one of the best Bitcoin books out there. Go get it. Chat with us on YouTube. Swan Signal. Blah, 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 blah. All right, we've had enough of this. You guys want to get to the show. I want to get to the show. Do me a quick favor. Smash that like button. It helps spread the word. In fact, call a friend. Tell a friend, hey, it's Swan Lounge. You got to watch this. So go and do that. Share it on Twitter. I believe it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. Hit that retweet button. All right, ladies and gents, I'm bringing in the rest of the crew right now. And here they are. Next to me is Brady. Oh, no, this way. Brady, you know him. You love him. Citizen Bitcoin. To his left, right, I'm not sure. I can't tell you who it is. It's none of your business who this guy is. He's awesome. Below him is Brandon Quittem. He's the mycelium man. I mean, that's what I call him. But he's a lovable guy, an amazing guy. He knows how to forage. He knows how to Bitcoin. He knows how to spread the word about Bitcoin. Smart guy. Follow him. Look up his stuff. Next to him is none other than Stephen Cole. Stephen, how do you describe yourself? You're like a Renaissance man. I don't even know where to start.
I hodl and I tweet. I say those are my specialties. Work a lot with Bitcoin startups and just Bitcoining as much as I can.
I love it. And then last but certainly not least, Reed Womack, the man who helps us in support and does so many other things for Swan. We all love him. Reed Womack. Reed, you want to
be here?
How you doing? What's going on?
Super, super well. Yeah, it is snowing in Montana, in my Montana Citadel. My skis that have been sitting idle for months are coming out tomorrow for my first day on the slopes. Chairlifts aren't open, but I'm going to go ski some POW.
You hear that, folks? He gave up skiing to be with us here today. Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice is real.
The sacrifice is real. We got some comments already going about the Swan swag. By the way, folks, if you want some Swan swag, it is zazzle.com/swanbitcoin. We only take a 5% cut because Zazzle makes us, and we'll be donating that to Bitcoin development or to merch giveaways.
Are the hats on there? Are the hats on Zazzle?
They are.
Yeah, the hats are on
I'm going to go pick one up right after this because I'm feeling the FOMO on those Swan hats.
Right? I love it. Been waiting for this for a while. They were, because of the shutdowns, they were not making them for like 3 months, and they finally came back up on Zazzle a couple weeks ago, and I was so excited. Been waiting for these Flex Fit hats for a long time.
Nice.
Reed, you're getting some shit right now. We actually talked about this on one of our meetings the other day.
True. It's straight up true. Like, I live in a 440 square foot condo, and the heat is turned down. The Bitcoin is turned up.
Where's Katie?
Love it.
Soon. Don't worry. Probably in 30 minutes or so ish. She likes to make it.
Got to build the suspense for Katie, right?
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. So we've got a couple of topics on the docket. Obviously, we're going to go on a million tangents, so don't worry about them. But big elephant in the room. We got to talk about PayPal. I want to hear your thoughts. Should we buy Bitcoin on PayPal instead of Swan Bitcoin?
Are they selling Bitcoin? Yeah. My understanding is they're not.
We should let David go first on this one because he had a good rant on Bitcoin and about this.
I want to hear it.
The answer is no, you shouldn't, because you don't even know if honestly, you don't even know if they're going to hold Bitcoin. I mean, all you can really do at this point or another is give them fiat. They tell you they buy Bitcoin for you, but because you can't extract it to your own hardware wallet, I can't send it to buy something with any vendor that I know of, at least not right now. That's not what their announcement said. Then I honestly don't know how they would prove that they actually hold the Bitcoin for me. And even if they could, if I can't extract it, then it's not worth anything to me. That's pretty the long and the short of it for me. There's really not much else I can say about it.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling that. I am. There's going to be a lot of this over the next year or two. Well, decade, really, just institutional adoption from these big old banks, big old payment networks. And, the big downside is that's not real Bitcoin. Those are IOUs. There's the chance of things being rehypothecated. You don't know what you're actually getting. So it's our job as Bitcoiners, and as Corey would call us, intransigent minority people, right, of Bitcoiners, to force these big companies to do Bitcoin the right way by demanding to hodl the Bitcoin and educating other people to demand the same. So, it's hard to do. What's up, Katie?
Hi, everybody.
Oh, look, it's Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hey.
There was a lot of demand for you to join us, as you can see. Sorry, Stephen, but
No, I'd +1 that sentiment.
Katie's got the passport, But that's what she's here. Well, that's not why she's here. Katie, we were talking about PayPal. If you happen to have any thoughts on all that fun business going on.
I'm a little bit out of loop on PayPal. I was trying to ask around in Telegram chats and trying to figure out what's going on. And you guys mentioned before some news of them buying some company acquiring, and I'm guessing it's now well known, right?
They were talking about buying BitGo and their other company.
Is it happening?
It's just rumor right now, as far as we know. I suspect if that were to, I kind of thought that they'd buy BitPay. Honestly,
wait, did you say River?
No, BitGo.
Oh, BitGo.
Yeah, and then if that falls through, I suspect they'll make a play for BitPay or something like that.
It seems like PayPal and BitPay would be kind of this horrible match made in horrible heaven.
So dirty.
That's what surprised me, is that they went after BitPay or BitGo first and not BitPay. I fully expected if anything was to be like an announcement like that, I was surprised that it wasn't we're buying BitPay, because I would have said, oh well, shit, that makes sense.
I think a couple things here to point out, though. Like if we rewind to PayPal in the 90s, their original vision was very aligned to Bitcoin. They wanted money on the internet, non-state money. And this is not the same PayPal we have today. This was Elon, Peter Thiel, those type of guys. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's really interesting that they're circling back to Bitcoin. Obviously, their first baby steps into this market is garbage from our perspective. But you know what? It could just be the easy way to get started. And, I'm optimistic they'll give us withdrawals. Cautiously optimistic. I wouldn't send people there, but I think it's in their best interest. And another nice thing about this is, in my personal experience, PayPal news is just catnip for the normies. They just love announcements like this. Same with Square. And so I'm seeing a lot of uptick in my personal friend group with this. And I think we're going to see announcements like this all the way up. Each time it'll be good. And regarding the acquisition, I think that's going to be a massive narrative in this next bull run, where corporations who can afford to sit on the sidelines are going to observe a trend that they're really far behind on. Bitcoin will be going crazy. Small companies will be getting all the press, and they'll be looking to acquire companies like this BitPay, BitGo. And so I think they're all cool narratives. If you're listening, PayPal, get your act together.
I have a hope and dream I want to share. This is my hope and my dream, that they will, this is going to happen. Well, no, not that they acquire BitGo, but that they'll acquire BitPay. I would like that to happen. And then I would like Nicolas Dorier to tweet that he will make them all obsolete and come out with a PayPal killer, which is basically just Bitcoin. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
PayPal, you have broken my trust. I will obsolete you.
Yeah. I want to come back to the comment about PayPal letting us withdraw later on. Like, they will let us withdraw because we know that not your keys, not your coins. But imagine like how big is PayPal's audience, and they're getting them on a hook of Bitcoin, like exposing them to Bitcoin price without actually exposing them to Bitcoin. And like those newbies will just think that like, yeah, I hold Bitcoin, which they're not. And like that's pretty much how we're circling back into fractional reserve, and that sucks big time.
We've got a question from the audience if somebody wants to field it. It's a pretty interesting one. Do you think this is PayPal's attempt to wrangle and control Bitcoin? Oh, sorry, Katie, that's kind of blocking your face there. Oh, there we go.
Ooh, good question. I mean, from my perspective, I don't think they're conscious of that. I don't think it's a conscious attempt to do anything like that yet. I think it's very much, PayPal is seeing the success of Square and Cash App just in terms of the finances of that product, and this is their attempt to kind of get on board, be forward looking, and be part of this trend. However, if years down the road, governments, central banks, big institutions feel threatened by this Bitcoin thing, then I do think that having more control in these big centralized entities could later become some kind of attack vector we need to worry about. But for now, I plus one pretty much everything being said. I think it's a net positive for Bitcoin that PayPal's getting into this, just in terms of marketing awareness. 350 million or so users, I think, and just like getting the word Bitcoin in front of them, getting that validation seems huge. Would I ever recommend any of my friends or people I care about to buy Bitcoin from PayPal? Not a chance.
I agree. I mean, it is definitely bullish. I just got off the man, I can't talk today. I just got off the phone with my dad and had probably the closest conversation I've ever had with him, where he's like on the verge of buying Bitcoin, and it's news like this that's pushing him over. So it's definitely a net positive.
And fun fact, so I actually used to work at eBay for about 4 years back when eBay owned PayPal, and it was one big happy family. And so I have a lot of former coworkers and friends who are still at PayPal, and got a lot of inbound outreach on sort of LinkedIn DMs and text messages with that news from PayPal employees asking about this Bitcoin thing, and a lot of interest within there. And I'm happy to report, I think there's going to be an intransigent minority within PayPal that's buying on Swan and controlling their own keys. So.
I wonder how it's going to affect cross-border payments fees, because like I'm sending money through PayPal to my developers in Russia, and the fees are huge. Like, is it going to change? Are they going to let me send, like, it's going to be Bitcoin on database, so why should it cost that much, right? So
what are those fees right now, roughly?
Okay, if I send around like $1,500, the fees sometimes between like $70 and $80.
That's high. Wow. That's like Western Union style.
I mean, there's
legacy finance.
And none of your coders yet are accepting Bitcoin?
Most of them are. Like, this is pretty much a requirement when hiring at this point, because like I'm not gonna spend extra, 8%, 10% on payments. Like, you have to either lower your price, accept the fees on your side, or you better start accepting Bitcoin.
You can't stop it. You can't stop it. People are just buying left and right. I saw this morning actually that Grayscale saw it was a $300 million inflow in one day. That's kind of crazy, no? Like, that's a lot of Bitcoin.
Unfortunately, when you click on that little chart, I did. It had like a 2% increase in Bitcoin. It was like 30% increase in Litecoin, like 20% in Ethereum. So it's just like massive shitcoin pump in Grayscale.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I think Bcash had a 24% run, and I was like, "This is gonna hurt later." Yeah. Not me, but I got my money out of Bcash. I got rid of that dog as soon as they let it go. So,
I mean, we all kind of know that these things are going to happen, but it's still going to be painful to see it happen in real time.
Well, I think the pain that we feel when we see it happen is there because we've seen it happen so many times, and it's just at this point, it's well, we've just seen it happen so many times. I was talking about it on the show this morning. I was like, it's not that maximalists are just looking for a fight or looking to be a dick. is that we've seen everything before. There is nothing that I haven't seen before at least 3 times. And I'm almost to the point now where it's like, God, something new, just anything new, please, just one thing to surprise me, because I've seen it. And when somebody is about to fall into the same hole that we've seen people fall into time and time and time and time again, and all you do is simply say, don't do that, that's a horrible idea. And it's like, oh, they get pointed at, laughed at, and called a maximalist. And I don't need, honestly, I'm surprised that we still go for it. I'm surprised that we still will tell people, hey, this is a bad idea, you shouldn't do this. It's almost as if it's part of the genetic code at this point. We can't help it. I don't know. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of bad decisions in that chart from Grayscale or whatever. Kind of sent me over the edge. I'm like, oh, that's not good, man.
It's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen. This is this is gonna be way crazier than 2017. Way crazier. You've got like Novogratz was on CNBC today. PTJ was on yesterday. CNBC has been riding this pump like crazy. They're like, let's get Bitcoin, let's get people to talk Bitcoin. It's pumping this week. That's just going to keep happening, and it's just going to be a self-reinforcing cycle. The downside is these guys like Novogratz and Raoul Pal think that, Ethereum is the platform for the future of finance, right? And they're spreading this message, and they're buying Ethereum. And so a lot of those guys that listen to, types like that are going to start picking up Ethereum too, which just leads them down the path to DeFi and all that stuff. So it's going to happen again. Like, it's just going to happen. And it's the coattails of Bitcoin. It can't be avoided. It's probably going to go on for a long time.
Well, you even got HODL announced yesterday evening or this morning that DeFi is going to be, or a sort of type of lending / DeFi is going to happen on HODL. And I don't know exactly what to think about that, honestly. God, you're going to copy a shitcoin, but then again, honestly, I still like HODL because it's one of the only things that has even potential to remain some sort of decentralized. And I was reading a story today, and I groaned when I saw the chief operating officer of HODL, and I'm like, shit, that's not good. Does the chief operating officer have a door that the feds can go, hello? Because if that's the case, we got problems. And we're always going to have those problems. BitMEX. They just walked over to that dude's house and just took him.
David, I really liked how when you...
Yeah, I think...
No, go for it.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet just kind of surface level about that too, DeFi on HODL. But I'm cautiously optimistic that they're doing things in a more responsible way. I think I saw that at least the underpinnings of what they're doing are Bitcoin based. And I might be mistaken, and I'm not 100% sure on all this, but I think it's like something on Liquid.
It is.
Which is rooted in Bitcoin. And I'm not sure if shitcoins are involved at all. Hopefully not. But I do think there's space for these lending products, right? Like lending Bitcoin as collateral, and maybe tokens kind of rooted in Bitcoin's proof of work as collateral even. And there might be ways to do that responsibly.
Yeah.
It certainly gets into like risky business model territory, but I think it could be a big improvement over just the like Ethereum mess and high interest rate kind of risky business that you see in the ecosystem today and have for the last year.
You mean, are you speaking of the tokens that I use to farm other tokens that I which in turn use to farm some more tokens, which somehow or another turns into fruit?
All of the food varieties, all of the sushis and yams and whatever the kids are doing nowadays.
To clarify what's going on with HODL, the statement is, starting this month, Bitcoiners can borrow USDT, USDC, PAX, or DAI. So these are all basically stable coins, and they're saying without going through the KYC process. So, I won't get into the whole thing, but yeah, it seems, I don't know. I'm always on the fence about Tether and stable coins, but I'm on the fence because I don't trade. I don't need them. Not right now. And I don't see a time when I ever will, so I'm always constantly on the fence, but still it's like, I don't know, man. It's scathingly close to some shit coinery over there, but I don't know. I hope I'm just dead wrong. I can always have hope that I seriously don't understand it. So
So I think like the goals of DeFi, as I understand them at least, like, you know, the ability to get a micro loan, like to actually help people, I think those are admirable. I think a lot of us, or all of us, agree that, you know, Ethereum is a dumpster fire and it's a terrible implementation of everything. But that being said, I mean, I'm kind of optimistic about things like, I don't know if you all saw the news about Atomic Finance switching from Ethereum to Bitcoin.
Did see that.
And, you know, they're going down the DeFi rabbit hole. But, you know, when I was reading that, what was really interesting is, so they're going to be leveraging the Lightning Network and the RGB protocol. If you don't know what those are, you can look them up. But basically, RGB will allow you to issue tokens on Lightning, including things like NFTs and all that stuff. But if you look at what happened with Ethereum, you know, DeFi basically caused Ethereum to like the gas prices to go astronomical. Like a regular user couldn't use Ethereum when DeFi was doing its thing. And the cool thing about DeFi on Bitcoin, for better or worse, is that if it's occurring on Lightning, it's not going to affect the base layer. You and I will be able to transact the same way we've always been able to do. And if somebody else wants to play around and issue a honey badger token or whatever the hell they want to do, they can go do that, and it's not going to affect the rest of us. And if it breaks, it's not going to affect the rest of us. So
that's why we scale on layers, everyone. Yay!
Great. Although I think it'd be interesting if just a dumpster fire of a shitcoin market occurred on Lightning to do one thing and one thing only: test the living crap out of it. Yeah. See, it's like just how it's like there's 10,000 shitcoins on the Lightning Network and it's not breaking. It's okay. Well, let's turn it up. Let's do 20,000. Let's fork everything all at once. That was shit. It still isn't broken. Okay, at that point, that would be a good test. I wouldn't want to be on the ending side of the bag holding, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. I think I'd like to give a shout out to Ethereum for providing this test bed for years now of things that can finally responsibly be built on Bitcoin. I think all the stuff that's been tried there, whether it's tokenization of assets and all of that, I think there's room for that. I don't think it's nearly as interesting or promising or world changing as sound money and Bitcoin. And so that's the premier use case of all this stuff to pay attention to. But sure, like making some assets useful programmatically is interesting. There's probably some business value there, but all that it's like so far, that's been Ethereum's game because it's been the kind of easiest way to get going on that platform. But I don't think Ethereum's sustainable long term. And so now all that stuff that has been tried there can migrate to or be built natively on Bitcoin and all the layers atop, right? RSK, Lightning, Liquid.
Hold up, Katie, what are you talking about here? I want to know what this is all about. No? You're just laughing at the Ethereum dumpster fire? All right, we'll move on.
Steven, that was a lovely way of putting it. You know, like, in that maybe 1% of the stuff will migrate, maybe 0.5%, and then 99% we can just sort of ignore.
Yeah.
Allow it to blow up. I personally don't want, you know, Yearn, Wi-Fi or Yams or whatever migrating over.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I think most of it's garbage, and most of it will just, you know, better not migrated. But
well, this is sort of Brandon's bag. Speciation is a pattern in the universe that you're never going to get away from. As speciation has been going on for, well, as long as even in molecular evolution, before life was life in the universe, things evolve just because the entropy of the universe. There's no difference here. It's just a different instantiation of the same fractal pattern that you see flying through the universe that's been here ever since the four fundamental forces of the universe was created, which was a few microseconds after the big boom, as far as we know, considering, you know, scientists and all that. But even then, out of all the speciation that occurs, one thing is also true. About 99.9% of all species that has ever existed are dead. They're all dead. Plant, fungus, bacterial, viral, it doesn't matter. They're all dead. Because only a very few make it through. And the things that make it through are the things that just happen to be birthed with a particular set of mutations under a certain set of environmental instances that make that particular thing anti-fragile and able to make it to maturity, sexual maturity, to be able to reproduce itself genetically, whereas all else are fragile to the same environment. That the one thing with the mutation that makes it anti-fragile is making it anti-fragile, and therefore that thing flies through. Everything else just kind of gets stuck in the morass of the noise that they experience because they are fragile, whereas anti-fragility is like being deaf. You don't even hear it. It's not noise to you, it's grease. And therefore you burn through, and the next thing you know, you're the one that's actually in the position to start the new instantiation of speciation.
Brandon, are humans the BTC of biological life? Oh, thank you, Katie.
Are
By the way,
humans
everyone, if you're going to drop a question, please make it that long. Otherwise, it blocks Katie, and we don't want to do that. So keep them short.
I would argue that mycelium is the BTC of biological life, which is unsurprising. But I want to finish up where the previous thread was going, which is about the Scambrian explosion that's going on right now. And so what we have here is a world with finite resources. So there can only be so many organisms occupying so many niches, right? There's no way around that. And during certain points in history, new niches are created. In this instance, we figured out how to make money on the internet in a way that we think is important. And so it starts with Bitcoin, or actually started 30 years prior with all the previous implementations leading to Bitcoin. Bitcoin now captured a niche. And now you have this insane speciation of thousands and thousands and thousands of new versions. And they're all trying to compete for the same niche, this new niche that was recently created. But what we're going to find is that the strong survive. Not the strong survive, the adaptable survive.
Yeah.
And all these little things that you can be faster than Bitcoin. You can do one little thing better than Bitcoin. But, like David said, if there's a knock on the door, your project's gone. If you can't maintain a security system that works long-term, your project's done. All these different things come up. And Bitcoin is the one that's built to last, the adaptable one. And long-term, that's what's going to matter. There's also another competition for money, which is sort of like a derivative of this ecosystem. And money is also a network effect, and it is a winner take all, or most, we can argue. And so the chance of these bottom dwellers rising to the throne is so small that it's almost not worth discussing.
What'd you call me, Brandon?
The scum beneath my toes.
Alrighty, now that Brady is in the bottom, if you want to do a long question,
cover up my face. I don't mind. That's why we moved Katie up.
I didn't mind either.
I think the chat minds. They apparently
drawing or continuing this thread of like Bitcoin as an organism, like extending that, Nunya and Brandon, thoughts on it being somewhat self-aware in some capacity.
Ooh, we're about to get deep.
I'm sort of anti that, but I'm open to hearing.
You've been listening to Max Kaiser.
I'm on the other side. I don't think Bitcoin is self-aware, but I'm open to sort of a compelling argument if anyone could frame one that it is.
I don't think it's self-aware. I'll say this though: it doesn't need to be self-aware because it has us. We're the other part of the equation. Let's see, the machine, somehow or another, this thing was birthed in. Maybe it was aliens. I don't know. I don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and I don't know if it was a person, a man, a woman, a group, a child, a group of small children. I don't know. It doesn't matter, because it's like if I just start there, then what I have is this huge machine that wraps around the globe several times. And at this point, it doesn't need to be aware, because the awareness is actually injected by the human species that looks at it and says, you could actually do a job for me. In fact, if you could be like really hard money, that would be just great. And I'll tell you what, since you're doing such a good job at it, I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure that I'm defending you. It ain't just me. You're just like thousands and thousands and thousands of people around the world who are just saying, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This thing happens to give me meaning, but it's not the machine that gives you meaning. It's your relationship with this machine, which has built relationships with everybody else. through this thing, a whole other thing was born. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you get what I'm saying. The awareness can come from us. It doesn't need to be self-aware.
Yeah.
It's
Are,
got
are we
us. We're
using
aware
Bitcoin
enough.
or is Bitcoin using us?
Yes, that's it, right? It's
Symbiosis.
a codependent relationship.
It's symbiosis. It's not. I would say it was not codependent, because generally speaking, there's a negative aspect attached to that. But symbiosis is something that does mean a lot, and it's yet another pattern in the universe that you see all the time. Because not only is it symbiosis can go one of two ways. One is I got two creatures that are basically feeding off of each other in a way that doesn't harm either creature and actually benefits both creatures. And it can be one of two. That can actually be one of two things. It can either be critically necessary for the life of both those creatures, which kind of is not all that great, or in another case, it could be where both of them could, if they wanted to, break off from each other and not see each other for a while, and neither one of them is going to get hurt. That seems a little bit more resilient, but I think it's symbiotic in nature.
Hey, David, we've got a question. Who is this man? I would like to tune into his thought stream. Can you tell the viewers at home where they can find you real quick?
This man is David Bennet. All right. This man is a badass mofo. He hosts Bitcoin and podcast, one of my very favorites. I very rarely miss an episode. It's like Bitcoin Audible, but for Bitcoin news. So it's super useful. But then, as you can tell, David drops his takes, which are deep and very thoughtful, because he has a big brain. I wanted to shill it for you. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You can find me on Twitter at BENND77. BENND77. Not very imaginative, but in the throes of 2011, when I was getting into Twitter, I was like, I don't know what this thing is. I need to test it. And next thing you know, I end up with the worst handle ever.
And if I recall correctly, you identify as an Apache attack helicopter. Is that right? I
do. And you may use the pronouns my liege, my lord, sire, or your honor. And if you don't, I will demote you into the dungeon of cancel culture, because apparently I can make people do whatever the hell I want them to do. And if they don't do it, then I can just delete their ass.
Oh, I'm in San Francisco right now. I got you.
Maybe you're in San Francisco? Of all the places in the world you've fled to escape?
I'm not here for long, so I'm going back to the land of free in a couple of days.
By land of free, do you mean Guadalajara, or do you mean?
Yeah, it's south of the border nowadays.
Are you kind of majority traveling nowadays? Is it mostly nomadic for you, or mostly home base?
I would say that I have a home base, but then I had like 30 flights this year, even through pandemic. So yeah, I travel a lot still.
Nice. Crossing those invisible lines.
Self-awareness in Bitcoin. So along that question, it kind of depends what we define as Bitcoin. You know, if you just look at the code acts more like a virus or like a simple machine. It just does its thing. But then it does hijack the consciousness of individuals who then get paid to work on it and get, you know, that all thing makes sense. So if you zoom out and you consider the whole ecosystem, I would say that you could say it is self-aware, because the individuals on the edge are self-aware. But, you know, more or less agreeing with David there. But I think an interesting point here is regarding symbiosis. And I wrote a whole article on Bitcoin symbiosis. But one thing that's interesting along what David said again is there's different types of symbiosis. And some organisms are dependent and some organisms are very promiscuous. You know, there's some types of mycelium that can work with, let's say, 100 different tree species. And depending on what trees are around, the mushrooms will just connect in. So they're not very fragile. And looking through symbiosis, I think Bitcoin's pretty promiscuous as well. Pretty much anyone who interacts with it, at least understands it at a certain point, they have an incentive to keep it going, right? There's sort of a paradox where as soon as you learn about it and you fully understand it, you just have to buy it. And as soon as you buy it, you want to keep it going. And, you know, everyone is in the same boat, whether you're a government, a corporation, or whatever we want to say, the incentives align you to keep it going. And so Bitcoin's very promiscuous.
Just with humans, though. We haven't had any buffaloes buying Bitcoin yet. So,
would we know if there were buffaloes buying Bitcoin?
Hey, I made sweet love with Bitcoin a long time ago, and I do it more and more all the time. I can't stop. I'm addicted to it.
Does your wife?
There's one of the quotes for this episode, I'd say.
Making sweet love with Bitcoin.
That's what we do on the Swan Lounge. We make sweet love to Bitcoin.
Wait, quick shill. Crypto close.
Oh yeah,
Bitcoin.
Oh, wait a minute. Al.
Oh, crypto cloaks. Oh yeah, they make some sweet looking stuff.
is that Al?
It's Al, buddy.
That dirtbag. Oh man,
God, he's a lot of fun.
yeah.
That dude's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, he is.
I got one thing about Bitcoin is like we're doing some important stuff, right? We're changing the world. We're making it a better place. But I love how much fun we have. Like what? Do you think like the American revolutionaries were having fun at the time? Probably not.
I did have a thought. I had a thought about that when I was taking my son to school today. And this goes right back to what I was saying about the fact that we, again, like the mycelium connecting with 100 different species of trees, not just 100 different trees, 100 different kinds of trees and hundreds of them. In this one network, we're able to communicate with each other almost chemically. And so we have this fun. Like this is some of the best fun that I've had in a long time. And a lot of that, I think, is because for the first time in a long time, there's a real possibility of sustained hope. And if there's just hope, that's enough. But then I started thinking about it like I said, on the way to take my son to school. I started thinking about the revolutionaries and, Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Benjamin Franklin and all these guys. And my question is without the internet and without some kind of machine level thing that's grouping them all together, how did these dudes find each other? How did they start hanging out?
David, there were only like 5 people in the colony at the time. Like there was only one. There was like one blacksmith, one guy who wrote letters.
No,
You can survey the whole town just by yelling.
But honestly though, for something like that to occur, clearly, all jokes aside, there was lots of people, and most of them were pretty pissed off. I mean, you're talking about the American Revolution started over a 3% tax on tea, of all things, right? It's a little bit more than that, but essentially that was like sort of the straw that breaks the camel's back. How does Benjamin Franklin hook up with all these other people? How does George Washington hook up? I mean, where is it that what was the basis of that network? Because somehow or another they had to meet.
It was writing. It was the printing press, I would imagine, and
so
letters.
They're just communicating to each other through pamphlets, letters, publications. This is the same. This is the same thing. We're the idea. One of the last things that I'll leave you with, because in 3 minutes I gotta go. The last thing that I'll say about this entire thing is that when we talk about money communicating value to each other, we're like, I want to transact with you and I want to give you this money and you give me that good because the story that we're telling each other is my service or my product is good. And what I'm communicating back in that story is, yes, I agree with that.
Right.
What's going on here is it's not just this communication layer. It's this storytelling layer. And the old cuneiform tablets, there were some of them that actually could be broken off, and you would give there would be like this huge cuneiform tablet, and then the merchant would say, I don't want to cart all these urns of wine. And if you want to buy 50 urns of wine, then you can go talk to my warehouse master, and I'm going to break off this piece of my ledger. And I'm going to give it to you. And it's got the king's stamp in it. So there's the authentication at the time. The guy takes this little tablet that's got 50 little stamps of wine urns on it, gives it to the warehouse master. And the guy goes, I see the authentication. Here's your 50 urns of wine. And that was the way things were done. But it was written down. It was a story. Even Andreas Antonopoulos, for however you think about him now, I still tend to really like the guy, was saying that it's, that this is this type of communication was developed because money demanded it. It demanded learning how to figure out or to design a way to write shit down. It demanded being able to tell stories to each other. And one of the things that we've lost, I think, and I can't prove it, and I might write something on this later on, but one of the things that I think has happened is that through the loss of something like as interesting as what do they call oral culture, oral histories, people that were able to memorize their entire lineage for like 100 generations, read the first chapter of Genesis to find out what that sounds like when somebody's trying to tell you that shit. But if you can do that, if you can tell these lengthy stories about what the transaction was, that's important. And I think we've lost that. I think when we give over a United States dollar for a stick of gum, there's no story there. There hasn't been a story connected with our money for so long that I think that's why we forgot what money actually was. And we certainly don't know what it is, how it works, what it's supposed to do. We're just blindly walking around with like either wads of cash or no cash, and we're buying cheap Chinese shit. We've taken oil out of the ground. We send it to China. They turn it into plastic. They ship it back to us. We buy it, give them our money. And then after 30 days, it ends up in a landfill. We are the absolute best.
Prices are the story, right?
Yeah.
That's the story. And when you fuck up the prices by manipulating the money, then you're screwing up all the stories and they don't make sense to each other anymore. And so we're just telling the wrong story to each other all the time.
That's what I believe. And gentlemen and madam, I have to say my goodbyes. Otherwise my son's going to be staying out on the playground for a while. So I enjoyed having you guys have me here. Thank you for the invitation, everybody. I hope to see you again as soon as I possibly can.
Thanks, David.
Good time to see you, David.
I have an open invite on this show any Friday.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
So I don't know how we can top that, but I've got a clip here I want to play that has nothing to do with Bitcoin and a little bit to do with what we were talking about before. But I'm not going to tell you what it is, and I don't know if it's in the right spot because I had to get it on the fly. But hold your horses here. Share screen, application window. There we go. All right. 1 second. Boom. Okay.
Help us. But they could be meeting anyway. What are we going to do? Search building to building? We'll start with that one.
Alexander Hamilton of New York. How say you?
Nay.
John Hancock and John Adams of Massachusetts. Yay.
Yay.
The yeas have it. Our nation's official joke state shall be New Jersey.
Anyway, I just wanted to share that. It shows that there's only 2 buildings back in the day in Colonial, wherever. And it's a great episode. I'm a huge Futurama fan. Go watch it. Not right now, though. Keep watching us.
All right, I got another heady question for you guys, based on sort of David's last thoughts, which are, talking about stories of money and like improving the story of money. And the framing question is like, if Bitcoin is actually a public UTXO set and you can trace things through, like as much as we shit on chain analysis, and I think it's deeply unethical, like could potentially that chain provide some sort of more value or some sort of more meaning and story to Bitcoins, if you can sort of like, like, oh, this is my Bitcoin that was passed to me from my grandfather, who was passed from his grandfather. You can see it go down the chain.
I agree. Like, I'm really skeptical. Anti-chain analysis. I think everyone, like financial privacy for everyone, is super important. However, as just a data structure and concept, the ability for us all globally, anyone who's interested, to go out and kind of see this data structure that represents all the value potentially being stored in the world someday, all of the, the transactions occurring on what could be the world's future money. That is just like a mind-blowingly interesting data set for, analytics, insights, figuring out stuff about human behavior to the extent that you can connect it to identity. So I just feel like there's going to be a whole industry of analytics that evolves there.
This is it's getting into like this territory of like the truth chain, you know, and I think it's something really, really cool that I like to think about sometimes when I'm smoking weed late at night. But like we've never been able to have a true record of time, and that's what Bitcoin is. You know, this could be the thing that propels us to a what's the term for a society that consumes the most amount of energy? Brandon?
Scarcity.
Yeah.
The Kardashev scale.
Yeah, the Kardashev
Type
scale.
1. We're type 0.
Yeah.
I think type 0 is next, right? We're like type -1 right now. We haven't even reached the scale. But yeah, you're right, Brecky. And you know, we've talked about this, but the Bitcoin code base, Satoshi called the blockchain a time chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where blockchain came from. I'd love to try to find that out. But yeah, it was originally a time chain. And what the main purpose of the blockchain is to achieve organization of blocks of a ledger over time in a decentralized way. Because like you can't have an oracle time stamping things. So you have to have this distributed time chain to, you know, stamp the ledger and create these blocks over time. So it is this decentralized clock, and it's really interesting. There's a great piece. I think it's titled "Is Bitcoin a Decentralized Clock?" You can Google that and read it, and it's fantastic. And it'll expand on that idea a lot. It's great.
So if you all don't mind, I want to go into to a story that Brandon brought up, that the Democratic Republic of the Congo is mining Bitcoin to monetize natural resources found in a nature reserve, which is for economic development and to protect the environment. Brandon, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yes, this is somehow a story that didn't get much play on the internet. My guess is because most of the articles are written in French. And so I had to do a little digging to figure out the details. But essentially the story is in the DRC, which is a very poor country. They have a national park there that has a lot of rich natural resources. And I think about 4 million people live within a day's walk away from the park. And what they're finding is that the people that live by are cutting down all the trees and just essentially stealing from the nature reserve in order to do things like heat their house and eat. And so this is common all around the world. You know, if you can't eat, can't protect your family, you don't care about the environment. And so you need to have like a basic level of life before you can care about the environment, right? Makes sense. And so what the DRC's park is doing is they're forming a partnership with public and private enterprise to essentially monetize energy assets inside the park. And so they have all this hydro and they're building new dams to create energy. And everyone who lives near the park gets very, very low cost energy. And they're also saying, okay, wow, we're producing too much energy. There's not enough demand. So now they're plugging in Bitcoin miners to monetize these energy assets before demand reaches supply. Probably never will. And so now you have this park that's going to save the environment by preventing deforestation, by giving you electricity instead of burning coal. And so that's pretty cool. And they're also creating energy banks. And I don't know the nuance here, but they're essentially doing a lending and borrowing service of energy for the locals. And I'm not sure where that's going to go, but a French company is doing the mining. They're kind of hush-hush because it's pretty dangerous in the region there. But the narrative's fantastic. Bitcoin saves the environment. It's for economic development. And yeah, you just print free money if you have energy. So I think it's something to explore. Anyone can DM me. I'll share what I have, but I don't want to go too much into the nuance.
I mean, Jurassic Park sounded like a good idea, though, and it wasn't. So, like, are there any negatives here? Like, what could go wrong?
You're damming a giant river in a national park.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue the ethics of damming rivers and keeping them wild, but if you have people nearby that are starving, I think you could argue for the dam. And it's not our trade-off to make. That country is going to monetize their natural resources how they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And it seems like Bitcoin's involvement in that is certainly a net positive, right? Like if it's going to be monetized anyway, then Bitcoin, it sounds like, is enabling that to be done more efficiently. And that's just a win. So, and I love how counterintuitive it is that Bitcoin could be such a boon for the environment, such a great thing, despite all of the FUD. When you see the surface level, energy consumption statistics about Bitcoin's network and proof of work, it seems like, oh, this Bitcoin thing uses so much energy, and therefore, the atmosphere and the environment and a bunch of bad things. But when you go levels deeper, just by the efficiency gains, the industries it displaces, and the way it incentivizes innovation in energy production tech, it could be the best thing for the environment in a long time.
Ladies and germs, I got to interrupt. We have a very special guest, or possibly multiple guests, joining us at this very minute. Here they are. Smash that like button. We got Brand BTC of Bitcoin Magazine here to tell us about something pretty special, I think. Brand, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
We're lounging,
Yeah, this is great. Wanted to drop in real quick, give a super quick announcement. We've just confirmed and announced a new speaker. Chamath of Social Capital will be speaking at Bitcoin 2021. We just announced it today. We actually have a couple other really exciting speaker announcements in the works right now, so be on the lookout too. But crazy. This all just happened basically in the past couple minutes, really a couple hours. But super excited.
Bull, baby. Chamath is the man. I love Chamath. Speaks the truth to power. I can't wait to listen to that one, man. I'm going to be in the room for that one for sure.
Yeah.
Are you going to use that screenshot?
Bullish on Bitcoin 2021.
Yeah.
Did you guys see him on CNBC where all those morons were talking about Bitcoin is for criminals or whatever, and he's just staring there blankly like, God, who am I talking to? You should use that screenshot for the website.
We should. Yeah, I need to go back and find where that was, but I know exactly what you're talking about, where he's talking to all those guys. Was it Brian Kelly? Or was it
Joe Kelly?
I don't remember who it was.
I think Brian was there. I don't remember though.
Yeah.
Greg, you're
Either
trolling
way.
right now. You're trolling us. Say his last name.
Polyhopatia.
Thank you. It's not that hard, okay? Just break it down in syllables. Polyhopatia.
Polyhopatia.
There you go.
Great last name.
I didn't do good in first grade reading, so sounding it out is really one of my issues. So you guys saved me there.
Chamath Polyhopatia. That's awesome, man. That's exciting. And we still have Nick Szabo, and we still have Tony Hawk, coming over from Bitcoin 2020, right?
Correct. So we're really just adding to the awesome lineup that we already had existing that's coming back. So yeah, I'm super excited. And like I said, we might even have a few other exciting announcements coming up very soon. Be on the lookout.
Hey, Brett.
There's another exciting announcement that was made earlier this week about Bitcoin 2021, and that is that Swan has a swanky spot at the Bitcoin 2021 venue. It's literally a lounge. We're calling it Swan Lounge after this show, and we will be broadcasting live from the Swan Lounge. You'll get to come and hang out. It's a very unique space. It's the only one like it at the conference, and we are so excited about it. Super stoked. It's going to be so much fun.
Hey, yes, you are correct. The legend, the Bitcoiner, none other than Tony Hawk.
Will be speaking as well. Yes. And yeah, you're right. The Swan Lounge is actually, I think we're planning on it being just right next to the bar too. So it'll be like grab a drink. Where are you going to go hang out and chat? Swan Lounge.
So the bar,
So
Swan Lounge, skate park, 1, 2,
half
3.
pipe, yeah. You go to the half pipe, then you come to the lounge to hang out with the bean bags, get a drink in the bar. Perfect.
Brandon,
Yeah, man.
Get the lounge with a view of the half pipe, please. That would be fantastic.
You might need to cut a hole in the side of the building, but for you guys, we would do it.
See, this is you guys need people like me around, because here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a camera over by the half pipe with a flat screen in the lounge, and you'll never have to leave the lounge.
There you go.
Brilliant.
There you go.
I love it.
We got to get Tony and Chamath and Nick to come and hang out in the lounge. That's the real score. We got to start working on that right now. It should be the spot where the speakers go to hang out after their talk.
The lounge within the lounge.
Got to work on that.
I like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
We want every speaker to feel like not only are they speaking at the conference, but they're coming to the conference. So, fully expect to be able to just see them and mingle with them after they're off stage.
Grant, I gotta ask. You told us the big news. Can you give us any exclusives? Can you share anything else? Something that people don't know about?
Let's see. You're putting me on the spot here. I can't. For the love of my team, I can't tease who the next person that we're confirming as a speaker is, except to say that
Bull.
is not bull. I mean, although bull for sure, but he's a luminary both in Bitcoin and outside of Bitcoin, and cannot wait to announce him.
Trump.
Everybody
Sounds like Naval. I'm calling Naval right now.
Steven, who you got?
Naval could be Peter Thiel, maybe. Yeah.
Love it. Taleb.
Oh.
Could be an outside shot.
I want to
Not a bad guess.
too. I'm planning to have a satellite event somewhere around the same week regarding anything that Bitcoiners need to know outside of Bitcoin. So I'm planning that too.
Will I need a foreign passport to enter?
I got you.
Katie, great job with the satellite event at BitBlock Boom. Had like a self-sovereignty event there. It was amazing. So you run another one, I will surely be there.
I'll be there as well. Look forward to that.
Yeah. On that note, I got to head back to support land. Good talking to you guys. But I'm out.
All right.
Everyone,
Good fight, buddy. Represent.
Reed.
Good to see you.
See you, Reed.
So, Katie, I actually have a question for you. I've never asked you this before. You're a Russian speaker, and there's this whole other segment of the world that is into Bitcoin that speaks Russian, and we don't know about it. Everyone on this side of the world, most of them can't speak Russian. They don't understand it. I was wondering if you could kind of give an insight into that whole side of things. What is the Russian Bitcoin community like?
Are you hiding that you speak Russian too?
I speak a little bit of Russian, not enough to go on like Russian Reddit or whatever and figure it out. I know how to say like I need a drink or meet me over there or hi Katie.
Yeah, his Russian is pretty impressive, I gotta say. Just to show for break a little bit. But yeah, I'm trying to stay up to speed with what's going on in the Russian community. I have not been back to my home country for like almost 5 years now. I'm definitely planning to go in the next few months. And recently, a good friend of mine, Lady Anarchy, you guys probably know her, she went back to Russia and she texted me like, Katie, like whenever I go, it's always blockchain and crypto and there's not a single Bitcoin person here. So I tried to connect her with a few like Bitcoin maxes that I know. But because Russia is very behind on information, like only the best pieces are being translated into Russian because, we're all writing, like we don't have a financial incentive to write the direct financial incentive, but all the ICOs and shitcoins do have financial incentive to write in all kinds of languages. So they have it translated into everything. So I do feel like information is a little bit not equally distributed right now in terms of different languages and different geographical locations. But, a lot of great reads are being translated right now on a voluntarily basis. Like my dad read the Bitcoin Standard in Russian, and he said it was great writing. I was quite impressed with translation because I had to read it in Russian as well, so I could debate my dad if I have to. Like it was great. So we just need to wait a little bit. They're getting red pilled, and we naturally understand this problem with money. Like since I was born, dollar to euro, dollar to ruble, like we dumped 93% compared to dollar, right? So we had like 11x, 11x, whatever it is in devaluation, I guess. Yeah. So it's pretty bad. We understand it. We understand that government has way too much power. We are on default anarchists just because we've been through all kinds of, systems that didn't work for us. So we're getting there.
Somebody in
perhaps the next Bitcoin 2021 should be Bitcoin 2022 in Moscow.
That would be fun.
Go international.
I mean, the one thing about that though is, so there's a story about Putin that I really love. I can't remember who it was Robert Kraft, maybe. He met someone who owned an NFL football team, and Putin asked if he could see his Super Bowl ring, and he said, "Okay, sure." Putin takes the ring, looks at it, puts it on, then he puts it in his pocket, and then he walks away, and his goons come in, and the guy, he just literally just stole a Super Bowl ring from someone. So here's my one worry about that, Katie, and not that I trust our good old US of A all that much either. All the prominent Bitcoiners in the world going to one conference in Moscow, I don't know. That seems kind of dangerous.
The Bitcoiners are the ring in that analogy. Yeah. He just puts us all in his pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Vitalik will be there to welcome us.
What was that, Brendan?
I was just saying Vitalik will be there to welcome us to.
He'll protect us.
No, he won't. No, he won't. That's how Ethereum flippins Bitcoin.
Well, how are you guys actually feeling about getting together? Like, it's a lot of Bitcoiners getting together in one spot, and like maybe we're not mooning just yet, but what about 3 years from now? How are we all gonna get together? Is it all gonna be underground, or like are we only gonna hang out at Swan Lounge?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bitcoiner centralization. We got to be worried about that.
I agree. Yeah, I think even starting to build out pseudonymous identities online, pseudonymous alternative Twitter profiles, GitHub accounts, whatever context you're coming at Bitcoin through, is a valuable investment to start thinking about. I would love to see more development go anonymous. Be kind of more meritocratic, I suppose. When you have a proposal for a code improvement in the Bitcoin code base, that's not so much that it's coming from a well-respected person or this person people don't like. It just, having the idea stand alone seems directionally what I would love to see. I feel like it'd make the ecosystem a little bit more resilient in a few ways,
There is one example of that I know of. There's an Anon devs somewhere in the world that Square is sponsoring. It was one of the first devs they sponsored on Square Crypto.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. And even like the whole SegWit2x and UASF with Shaolin Fry in 2017, the pseudonymous account that put out the Bitcoin improvement proposal for BIP 148, like that super controversial idea, right? And if you're just an individual doing that and people know where you live, maybe a bunch of influential rich people don't like that. Right. So yeah, long pseudonymity.
You're talking about alternative identities online, but I say Bitcoiners should start building alternative identities offline. Just, start going dark, strategize the steps. Like, I'm all for it. Hit me up in DMs. I'll try to help you strategize it.
It's very hard to go backwards once you've revealed yourself. So,
yeah. Jameson Lopp talks about that quite a bit, and it's a big lift. So it's impressive what he accomplished, and he still has. We actually talked to him in one of the very first interviews we did for Swan. And he talks about how he has once a quarter, basically like bounty hunters, or for lack of a better word, I guess, try to find him to test out his anonymity. And so he can still use his real name, and his identity exists online, but he has an alternative identity tied to everything in meat space now, really? Which is pretty crazy if you think about it, and it's working.
Next level OPSEC.
Right?
Goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oof. Well, guys, real quick, I got to jump off because we're having a team meeting, but I really appreciate you guys letting me jump on, and can't wait to see you guys in LA, and you guys are the best. Love you guys.
All right. Love you too. Bitcoin Magazine.
Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
DC Media for the win.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, someone is asking for the Bitcoin 2021 website. That's a good thing that we should put up, and I'm going to look it up right now.
Bitcoin. Yeah, I think it's b.tc/.
Yeah, they got a sweet domain name.
That's the website for the overall company. For the conference,
/conference.
Oh yes, you're right. Hold on.
I think it's the Bitcoin Conf.
TC/conference.
Wonder how much it costs for a single character domain nowadays.
B.tc. You should have Michael Saylor. I bet he.
Oh yeah, Saylor's going to be there for sure.
Oh no, I was just saying he probably has all the single letter domains out there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. B.tc is a pretty baller domain.
Also, let's talk hope.com. That
Yeah.
got juiced.
Yeah, hope.com.
Yeah.
I love this is something we talked about already on this show, but like I just love it so much. You go to MicroStrategies, which is at hope.com/MicroStrategies Bitcoin page. And the top above the fold quote is his Cyber Hornets, Goddess of Wisdom, Fire of Truth, quote. That's on their corporate website at the top of the fold on their Bitcoin page. I mean, how badass is that?
Like, is this real life? It's so good.
I do love this timeline.
I mean, what was interesting to me is like I remember, at least maybe this won't happen for kids these days, but like when I first discovered the internet, I didn't know where to go, and search wasn't that great, and so I would just type in random domains and see what it took me to. So I don't know. My hope is that maybe some people are doing the same thing. They go to hope.com and lo and behold, they find Bitcoin.
For sure.
Going
Who's
back to
dressing as a
Katie's,
cyber hornet for Halloween, by the way?
No, Brandon. No. Steven was talking. All right, now you talk. Go, Brandon.
I don't want to interrupt the plan to figure out what we're going to wear for Halloween, but I was going to bring up something about, let's say we go into a future state, some sort of a dystopian state where Bitcoiners are targeted. How will we be able to communicate? And David Bennet brought up during the American Revolution, and the main nucleus was actually specific taverns. You would go there, you drink some weird local beer, and you talk politics. And then that formed a network, and then each city had a leader. And so all you had to do is ride the horse through the towns, and each person would know what to do, right? And if we think about in the Bitcoin world, either we meet in a digital space like this, or maybe we go the route of Altered Carbon, which is a book turned into a TV show where the wealthy people have little computers in their brain, and it doesn't matter what body they're in. So they can kill their meat suit and then just re-upload their consciousness in a new body. And so I don't know, that might be the next step for Bitcoiners, is to put our consciousness into computers.
That's going to happen.
Go hang out and meet guys.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
We've got Neuralink coming, right? That's what that's for, kind of.
It's like step one. Yeah, the Neuralink presentation was fascinating, and they've already achieved pretty specific instructions that can be understood with the Neuralink and then repeated. So you can understand basically they learn the instructions through brainwaves, and then you can make the pig repeat that exact movement of their body, for instance, by basically injecting electrical waves into your neurons. It's happening. It's happening.
That is wild.
It's all exponential tech, right? So it's just going to go faster and faster. The next few decades, we're going to reach escape velocity, not just on Bitcoin, because I think that's going to happen sooner than we all expect, but all of these technologies, we're going to reach escape velocity on them. We're at the elbow of the asymptote, and then it just goes. And, AI is going to, be so smart. We're just going to be sort of like, they're going to keep us around as, the inventors of their species and let us have the earth and enjoy our lives and do our human things. But it's going to be wild, man.
Or we're in pods Matrix style and they're harvesting us. Which way does it go? Which way does it go?
We might already be in pods Matrix style. How would you know?
Excellent point. Might be in the best VR game ever invented right now.
Brady, I think Katie figured out your trick and she wanted to snipe you and be on the bottom right for some reason.
It is crazy too. Like if we get this digital interface to the brain, then in Bitcoin's digital money, just be able to send people Bitcoin by thinking about it.
Yeah, but that's dangerous. Like, what if you're drunk and you just and think about sending all your Bitcoin away?
It brings a new meaning to the term brain wallet. That's for sure.
You can only send it. You can only send it through thoughts if it's custodial. It's a hot wallet, custodial part of it for bar drunk conversations and stuff.
Yeah. What if you were to you were talking about interfacing with like that pig or something? What if you have like a pet dog and that's where you keep your Bitcoin? And stimulate Fido, and boom, the Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going.
Overhyped brain wallet, underhyped dog brain wallet.
No, Fido, don't run away. That'd be terrible.
I don't know.
Oh,
I kind
man.
of want to get back to the question of Halloween types because I've been on a back and forth thinking about should it be Alice from Wonderland, going down the rabbit hole, following the white rabbit, or since
Ladies and
I'm
gentlemen in the
gonna
chat,
have say again.
what do you think Katie should be for Halloween? Go.
Jeez,
Uh-oh.
that might be bad. And
Don't answer that question.
I'm gonna have 2 Halloweens actually. One is the actual Halloween, and another one Dia de los Muertos. So I'm gonna have 2 days. So I have options, but also I'm gonna be celebrating Halloween with a bunch of Bitcoiners, and we thought about just getting the Salvador Dali masks and red suits, tracksuits. Yeah, tracksuits, right? How do you call that?
Nice.
No, tracksuits is a Russian thing. Jumpsuits.
Jumpsuits. Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
What are you
Yeah,
doing?
I love that.
Yeah,
And just
from
all go as
Money
the
Heist
same,
or Casa
the
de
same
Papel.
outfit.
De
Say that
Papel,
again?
right? Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
The House of Paper.
Am I back? Can you hear me all right? Yeah,
Mhm.
Money Heist. It's a TV show on Netflix. Like in one of the seasons, they pretty much taken over the Fed of Europe and start printing money as much as they can. Go on and on about it. They kept printing money. We kept like evaluating the currency, and we might as well, take it all. So that's pretty much the message we're sending. And because initially this movie was in Spanish, in Mexico everybody knows about it. Like it's a big thing. So we all want to have red jumpsuits and be people from Casa de Papel. Money
I
Heist.
like
That's
it.
right.
No, I haven't seen it.
That sounds cool.
I
You
need to
guys
go watch that.
should
I'm-
watch it. I can't believe you haven't seen it. I saw all over Twitter about like half a year ago.
No, but
I've
everyone
never seen it.
right now is saying how good it is, so I'm gonna have to go watch it for sure.
The chat loves it.
It seems like it would be a good way to kind of start to red pill mainstream people too, right? It's like show them that and then be like, yeah, and that's actually how central banking really works, like in real life. They're just printing money.
Yep.
Yeah. People are starting to figure it out.
Actually, 2 Halloweens ago, I met a guy. Identity. How do you say this? Identity
Stolen.
steal? Yeah, whatever. So he
Theft. Yep.
fully black costume, and he had like a bunch of social security numbers that he could just download from internet and like passports and all that stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, that's what happens when you share your information online." And I'm like, "This is a good suit. Like, pretty good idea. Good costume."
Identity thief with actual social security numbers on your outfit. Yikes.
Oh man. We had a question in the chat about where we can get these amazing hats, by the way. So I'm gonna put up the answer. Where is it? There we go.
I want swag too.
Zazzle.
I'll be driving through LA. Can I get some swag?
I might have an extra hat for you by that time, but it's all printed to order for now. So wait till the conference.
Oh yeah, there will be swag.
Hear that, Corey? There will be swag.
There will be swag.
I know you're watching.
I think earlier Corey was asking about the presence of a very tall swan at the conference too.
Approximately 6.15 feet tall, perhaps.
There are a ton of insane ideas that get floated on our marketing calls for Bitcoin 2021. Between Corey and Brecky, there are at least 30 ideas that are impossible. Another 100 that are just crazy. Another 100 that we probably will end up doing. So yeah, the Swan Lounge is just the start. Like it's gonna be Bitcoin 2021 is gonna be crazy.
We got to make it a
part of
permanent.
this poll.
When commercial real estate crashes, we should make it a permanent thing in LA. Just like a Bitcoin center. We need more of those.
Swan Lounge, downtown LA.
Oh no, not downtown LA.
Yeah, work at Santa Monica, West Side. Yeah.
My house is basically the Swan Lounge.
There we go.
The after hours Swan Lounge. We're gonna have to do that too.
Ooh. All right. Now we're at 101 ideas. Alrighty, folks. I think, unfortunately, because I'd prefer to be doing this all day, it's about that time that we close up. Katie's got some passports to sell and some identities to save. And no, that didn't sound right. She's got some identities to save and people to convince to buy passports. Brandon's got some mushrooms to forage and some thoughts to think. Steven's got some tweets to write. Brady's got some Citizen Bitcoin to push out. Yeah? New episode coming soon?
It dropped yesterday with Danny D. Kroger, engineer at Cash App. It's a good one.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I love his stuff. He did some super informative threads, just like very accessible.
Yep. Yeah, good stuff.
Corey, Swan custom tees are the real NFTs. All right, folks. Closing words. Where can people find you? Words of advice. How to have strong hands.
Yeah, I'm SNC on Twitter. Follow me there. Prepare for the 75% gut wrenching drops if you're investing in Bitcoin long term, but that is just part of the game. Zoom out, think long term. The shirt is financial advice. So, not from me, just the shirt. You know, it's all the shirts. That's the financial advice. It's responsible, not me.
If you get wrecked, sue the shirt.
Yes.
Hold Bitcoin.
All right, you can find me at bquidum on Twitter. Come say hello. I host a meetup on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Central where we talk about Bitcoin and biology. Just scan my Twitter profile. You'll find the Calendly link, or DM me. I'll send it to you. We just have a handful of people every week chopping it up. They're mind-blowing every time. So come say hi.
That it, everybody? Nothing else? No, nothing, you got some time. Some wisdom bombs, perhaps? No? All right. Brady, you can follow him at Citizen Bitcoin. I'll show him for you. Katie is at Katie and Ananina.
That's right.
I'm at BV.
Yep.
What is it?
I learned how to say it super fast. KNA.
You froze right as you said it, which I think was hilarious. Just DM me. I'm at BVBTC, and I will link you with any of these folks if you want to find them. If you want to find David's podcast, which you should go subscribe to. Corey says gold sucks. Yes, we know that, Corey.
+1.
+1 from Steven. +1 from all of us, maybe. Anyway, Bitcoin's better. Buy Bitcoin. Subscribe to this channel. Smash that like button, please, before you go. To that one guy, Craig Wright, wherever you are, who keeps giving us the thumbs down, just stop watching. We don't like you. Go away. Everyone else,
Three things. I'm sorry. I was thinking of stuff. 3 things. 1, gold is a shit coin. 2, daily buys are live on Swan. We're rolling them out. There's hundreds. I think 700 people have been activated on daily buys. We're doing hundreds a day. Go to swanbitcoin.com/daily buys. Get on that list. You'll be one of the first couple thousand to be stacking daily. And 3, smash buys, one-time buys coming soon. All right. The 2 most demanded things we had since we launched the service: daily buys, smash buys. We're on the verge. We'll already have daily buys. We're on the verge of the second one. And then why do you need Cash App? You don't need Cash App anymore. We have better fees. We're Bitcoin only. We don't have stonks. We don't have coupons.
Brady, we don't hate on Cash App here. Only
I love Cash App, but I'm just saying why? Like, why would you need it anymore? You know, there's just no reason.
Excellent point.
Still love Cash App.
All right, Brady. All right, everybody. We love you very much. This has been amazing. We'll see you next time.
Good times. Thanks, guys.
Bye.